Let's go. Let's talk about it. So, today we're going to talk about the impact of having debt on your paycheck and what that means for you. Unfortunately, a lot of us, maybe when we grew up, we took on debt. That's the way that we're programmed for it all to go. We're programmed to, you know, buy a car, go get a big house, all of those things, but we're not really trained how to buy them, and we're not really taught what way we should buy them. So we go and we accumulate all these different amounts of debt. We go and we don't learn how to purchase a car, like the best way to do it to get the best bang for our buck. We don't learn how to purchase a house and what you should consider before signing up for that big financial responsibility. So, one of the things that I want to talk about today is how accumulating all those amounts of debt, how they affect our financial goals and how they prevent us from achieving our financial goals, because it's deeper than it looks, or it's deeper than it seems. The reality is these are big, huge financial decisions that some of us make way before we even get educated on what these things even mean for our finances. So it's really important for us to learn about these things, because essentially every piece of debt you have, that's something else that's standing in between you and your paycheck. If the more you owe and the more people you owe, that means when you get paid, that's the more people who's going to be standing in between you and your check. So you have to learn how to eliminate them. You have to learn how to eliminate those claims on your paycheck. Okay. So, one of the things that I teach my people to do is to actually learn exactly what you owe and learn what type of debt you owe. What's the difference like in these different type of debts? We learn a lot about how to take on this debt, and we learn a lot about what different type of debts. Oh, you should buy this, you should buy that, and now we got the buy now pay later, but we don't learn how that we should go about. What should I do? What type of conversation should I have to get the best deal at a car dealership? How do I make sure I can afford the house that I purchased? All of these things are very important, and there are conversations we should have before we take on this debt. Now, the reality is we don't really have those conversations. We don't really talk about those things. We're just programmed to just sign up for large amounts of debt. So what we need to do is learn how to take on that debt and learn how we can protect ourselves, because the more we pay off that debt and erase those claims on our paycheck, the more of our money from our paycheck we can keep for ourselves. So if you don't know me, I'm Nia. I'm a financial education instructor and consultant. And so what I do is simple. I break down money in simple terms, and I have real conversations about money. It's not fluff. We're not here to sugarcoat. I'm not here to tell you how to get rich in 5 days. I'm here to talk to you and have real money conversations so that we can do better with our money, because we're struggling. Okay. I talk to people every day. I hear from my students all the time how they're struggling. They feel like they're drowning. They feel like they don't know exactly how to figure out their finances or figure out how to accomplish their financial goals. And I'm here to tell you, one of the biggest roadblocks you have is going to be your debt. It's going to be your debt. It's going to be that big car payment. It's going to be a house payment that maybe you couldn't afford because you saw that big house and the cabinets look good and it was in a nice neighborhood and it's looked like something you would want, but at the same time, your wallet didn't want it. But we don't know how to make that decision and look at our wallet first before we make that decision. We don't know how to go and consult with our wallet first and say, okay, can we afford this? Do I have money for this? These are the conversations that we typically don't have that we should have. So let me explain how it's affecting us and how it's causing us. So because I can get up here and talk about it, but it's much better if I can give you an explanation. One of the explanations I can give you is, for example, when you purchase a car and now you have this car note to pay every single month. This is additional money that's now coming out of your paycheck every single time you get paid, right? Right? So now that this money is going towards this car note, That's money you don't have to save. That's money you don't have to invest. That's money you don't have to pay off other debt. And I'm not saying that, oh, well, don't accumulate any debt or don't buy any cars or don't buy a house or anything like that. But learn how to make those purchases so that you are considering how it's going to affect your finances before you purchase it. Don't just go out and buy it without considering that. And I feel like we've pretty much been programmed, and you all can share this, push this out to anybody you feel like needs to be here or needs to have this conversation. But we aren't really programmed or taught to look and see if we can afford something before we buy it. We're not really taught that, oh, okay, let me look and see how this is going to affect my current bills. We just think like, oh, well, I make this much money, so yeah, I should be able to afford it, right? I should afford it. And that makes sense, right? But it's so much more than that. It's so much you need to look at, because what it's doing is taking money away from you being able to work on your financial goals. This is one of the reasons that credit is so important. Credit is important because credit is going to affect what those payments look like. If your credit is lower, of course, it's going to cause those payments to be so much higher. You see what I'm saying? So one of the things that you got to do is you got to have a conversation with your wallet. You got to have a conversation with yourself before you go make these purchases, because sometimes you're going to making these purchases and your wallet told you that you shouldn't have been out there. Your wallet told you you need to go back to work. And that's okay. And we have to also be okay with the fact that when we can't afford something, being okay with letting people know we just can't afford it. Letting people know that this is just not something that I can afford at this moment, whether that be a trip, a car, a house. If you got to back out of the deal and lose money, it's going to be better to lose some money than just walk away. And now you stuck in this payment that you really can't afford. And now you're struggling. Now you're stressed. Now you're waking up at the middle of the night because you don't know how the hell you're going to get this money. You know what I'm saying? Or you sitting here desperate, looking for side hustles and doing things that you really hate to get this money because you signed up for this. Because at the end of the day, most of us have jobs. And most of us have a supervisor or somebody at our job that gives us instructions and tells us what to do. They give us assignments. Sometimes we like those assignments. Sometimes we don't like those assignments. But at the end of the day, we like flicking the switch and the light come on. We like having a home to come to. We have to do our money the same way. We have to give our money instructions the same way that supervisor gives us instructions. We have to tell our money where to go the same way our boss told us what to do. And just like we didn't like it sometimes, it's not going to be a fun place for your money to go all the time, but it's going to be where it needs to go. And it's going to be what needs to be done, because you're making a decision for the betterhood of your overall finances, not for that one instance, not for that one moment. You're making a decision to improve your finances overall. So it's going to take some hard decisions. It's going to be a long process. But if you got questions about debt or anything like that, definitely feel free to drop them down in the chat. But one of the things we have to learn to do is look at what type of debts we have. You got revolving debt, you got installment loans, you got so many different types of debt, and the interest accrues differently on different debt. So you have to consider factors like this when you're like, oh, I want to pay off my debt. You have to consider it. If you don't see my last live I did about creating and setting goals. And how to set financial goals. And if you didn't see that, go to my YouTube. That live should be recorded there, and you should be able to go and view that video. But that's essentially what I talked about, because we are not taught. We're taught to just go do. We're taught to just go buy. We're not taught to analyze much. We're not taught to go and even see what this purchase looks like or what type of information I need before I make this purchase. And the long ending result is we're accumulating a lot of debt, and all it is doing is making us drown in our finances. Okay. So it affects your long-term goals because, for one, we're sitting in a state where we have a lot more financial responsibility than maybe our parents did, or maybe their parents did. Back in the day, maybe you got a job and then they worked there for 40 years and then they retired. You know what I mean? And then they were able to retire and now they chilling and they got their social security and they got their pension and they got their forward, whatever they have, and they're good. We don't have that luxury. We got student loans at an all-time high. We got credit card debt at an all-time high. Now we got this buy now, pay later, which sometimes goes on your credit, sometimes don't, but it still classifies as debt in my book because it's still a payment that you got to make that's coming out your paycheck. So at the end of the day, you're in this conundrum where you got so many different people needing your money. And I'm not saying it to say like our parents or our grandparents didn't have a lot of financial responsibility. They had financial responsibility and they had a lot of other shit on their shoulders that we now don't have on our shoulders. But the reality is financially, baby, we got everybody at our heads. So the battlefield or whatever you want to call it is already more difficult starting out. So then when we don't have that knowledge to say and go and look and see if we can afford something or go look and see if we can pay it or if it's a good financial decision, y'all make sure y'all hit like, y'all share this live with anybody y'all think needs to hear it. But the fact that we don't have that ability to go and look and see, okay, oh yeah, I can't make this decision. I can't buy this right now. That's hurting us. And it's hurting us financially. So, like I said, that's the long-term effect. When it comes to saving for retirement, when it comes to investing our money and being able to put our money to work, having so much debt eating up our paycheck is decreasing the amount of money we have to invest and make more money. We on TikTok, we on YouTube, we on Facebook, we on all the different platforms. And they're telling us all these ways to make money. They're telling us ways to start businesses. They're telling us different things that we can do with our money. But a lot of that stuff is blocked when you have a lot of debt eating up that money. Okay? So let's get it. Now, one of the things that I think that is very important that we also don't realize is that there are ways. So just because you might have accumulated a lot of debt, just because you might have debt, it does not mean that that's it. That's the end of the world. It's nothing you can do. Oh my God, you out of nowhere. Like that doesn't mean that at all. All it means is that you have to get serious about it. At the end of the day, it's your money. Personal finance is personal. So you're going to have to sit down and figure out, first of all, who do you owe? Who you owe? Who all got their hand out looking for your money? Who are these people? How much do you owe them? Like, what do you owe them? Like, what do you have to make a payment? All of those things are important. How much interest are they charging you? Because that's how they get you. Because you could owe $100, but if I'm charging you 25% interest on that $100, I'm charging you a decent amount of money just for the $100 that you borrowed from me. But we don't think in those terms. When you go into a prime store, I'll tell y'all a story. Going into a cell phone store. Well, obviously I'm on my cell phone, so I can't use my cell phone for this example. But when I went to go purchase this cell phone, I've had my phone for 2 years. My phone has been paid off for a while, full disclosure. But when I went in here to purchase the phone, I'm like, oh, how much is this? Oh, $20 a month. I said, no. That doesn't tell me how much it is. That tells me how much the payments are. How much is this phone? Oh, it'll only be $20 a month. Like, why are you talking to me in monthly payments? Tell me how much the phone costs. Like, why is that so hard to tell me? It's not hard to tell me, but they're telling me that way because that sounds much better to say, oh, this phone is $20 a month, or this phone is $25 a month, as opposed to telling me, oh, this phone is $1,400. You know what I'm saying? So they put it in that type of language and they put it that way so that it looks like it's better for you. And it looks like, oh, it's not that bad. It's just $20 a month. That's not that bad at all. Oh, I could pay that. But yeah, you got to pay that shit for like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? When all them payments add up and you think about if you took that same $20, that same $25 and you was investing that money, I know it don't sound like a lot, but get that thought out your head that it takes a lot of money to start saving or that it takes a lot of money to start investing. You can start investing at a smaller amount. You don't have to wait until you have hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So that same $20, that same $25 that you're putting on that phone every month can very well be going towards you investing and making you some more money. Real talk. And then when you have a situation that, oh my God, you know, my money is down, I don't know what I'm going to do, you have something right there that you can access to get you out your bind and get you back to where you were. So a lot of times the strategies or things that we learn or that we've been taught, I'm not saying they're wrong, because different strokes for different folks. Like I'll be the first one to tell you, there are no such thing as cookie cutter solutions. So it's not any one catch-all thing that's automatically going to work for everybody. There's nothing that's going to be like, oh my God, this is the key right here, and this is going to work for everybody, because everybody's finances look different. Everybody's financial goals look different. We're not going to have the same financial goals if we are not trying to go after the same things. So that's one of the things that's very important for you to realize and remember. And my last point, and then we can get into some Q&A. If you have questions, drop your questions down in the chat about any type of debt or paying off debt. If you have a question about your money management or budgeting, debt repayment, you got issues with spending, you trying to get out of a toxic relationship with Affirm and Klarna, any of those things that they affect you, definitely drop it down in the chat and we can talk about it. Now, my last point that I want to make is, by no way am I saying don't take on any debt, don't buy anything, stop living, penny pinch until you don't have anything left. I'm never ever anyone to preach that, because the reality is that's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's not realistic. Hell, in this day and age, I don't think it's even possible. Like, just being real, because that's how we operate. That's the cost of things is very high. So you need debt, but you have to learn how to leverage debt so that it's not overtaking your finances. You got to leverage debt so it's not just completely erasing your finances. Okay. And y'all who are joining this, if you're not following me, make sure you go ahead and follow me. Actually having a free live webinar on July 30th. So you can go to the link in my bio and sign up for that webinar. We're going to be talking about some of these, but we're going to get a little bit more in depth, of course. But it's basically going to tell you about if you have spending issues. Maybe you've tried to budget before, but you had issues and you have not been able to really get down to them, or maybe you budgeted and it lasted for a couple of weeks, but you really wasn't able to stick to it. You fell completely off, things like that. Because I feel like a lot of us struggle with it, but it's because we really don't get like realistic advice. Like I'm here to talk to you the real. I'm here to talk to you as somebody who has had financial struggles, as somebody who's filed bankruptcy and came back from bankruptcy, and now I'm a real estate investor, as somebody who has been evicted. Like, you know what I mean? I've been through the struggles in my former life. And once I was able to improve my finances, I became a resource for all my friends and they started coming to me. But that's the point that I realized that other people needed this information, because the reality is, I was still thinking that it was only me. I was out here in the world thinking that it was just me. And if I told somebody else, it would be a burden. And that's not true, because a lot of us didn't receive any knowledge about personal finance. So how the hell was we supposed to know? How was we supposed to know? We was just out here with a flashlight trying to figure this shit out like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me realize it. And when I had that epiphany and I decided that this should not have to be a journey that you have to go through alone, because you always going to have people who come and discourage you, say things against it, got something to say because you're not doing what they want you to do. And it's like, so what? So what? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, you're doing this for you. We can show up for everybody else, and we can do everything and make sure everybody else is good, and we can make sure everything is great and check on this for them and do this for them and do this favor for them. Why can't we show up for ourselves financially, physically, emotionally, mentally? We should be. If we can show up for everybody else, we should definitely put that same effort into showing up for ourselves. Okay. Now, like I said, my last point is, the goal is to leverage and find a balance between it. The goal is not to eliminate debt and, oh my God, don't take on any debt for the rest of your life. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to find a balance between it and be able to leverage that debt so that you are able to be more successful and be less stressed about your finances. Because the reality is your mental health is strongly related to your financial wealth. And I'm not talking about, oh, distant cousins that you only see each other at weddings and funerals. I'm talking about like your mama sister's daughter. I'm talking about like your first cousin. They're very heavily related. Think about it. When you have an expense that you have no clue how you're going to pay it, or you have something financially that's big that's coming up, you don't find yourself thinking about it. You don't find yourself wondering how you're going to do it and being stressed, a little bit more irritable, might be a little bit more snappy to people because you are stressed out about your finances. When something bad happens, say something happens to your car or anything like that, tell the truth. Why are you upset about it? Because you're trying to figure out how am I going to pay for this? It's like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? Can't win for losing. A lot of those things is because it's affecting your mental health. It's stressing you out, sis. It's stressing you out. So we got to be mindful of this, and we have to learn to leverage. And leverage is going to look different for different people. Ain't nothing wrong with buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later. Affirm, Klarna, Uplift, Afterpay, all of them is cool with me. But you got to keep track of how many of them you signing up for. You can't be signing up for 5 buy now, pay laters. Now you sitting here looking crazy because you got paid and all your money is already fucking deducted. And you like, well, God, where did it go? Because you're not thinking about it when you sign up for it. That's why they always tell you the prices based on the payment, because it sounds easier to make that small payment. The next way they get us, I'm gonna tell you right now, free shipping. If you on this chat, tell me if you would rather buy something that say free shipping than buy something that got the shipping on there, even though the shipping is cheaper. Because I see this in my students all the time. They look for it to have free shipping. And the different retailers, stores, the Fashion Novas, the Sheins, or whatever stores, they know this. So they purposely make sure that they put free shipping. They'll spend $25 more and get free shipping. You're like, oh, okay, $25 more. Oh, cool. But you could have paid $3.99 for shipping. Shipping wasn't even that expensive in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But it's mine. It's all mental. It's all mental. It's a very big mental part of money. And that's something that we all don't really realize. We know about money and we hear these terms about budgeting and different things like that. But one of the things that we don't realize is it's not about the money. The money is just the tool in the process. It's not about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's about the freedom. It's about having time. Like, I'm not out here to tell you about what I have, and what I have is just, oh, let me teach you how to budget. I want to tell you how to live a more fulfilling life. Like this webinar I'm having on the 30th, it's not just to tell you about money moves. It's to tell you how to leverage your money so you can achieve your goals, how to leverage your money so that you can attend them family events, not stressing, looking for a side hustle because you're like, oh my God, I need some more money. I don't know where my money is coming from. Stop stressing over, oh, I need to get this promotion. I need to get all of those things are constant stressors that you are living with, that we have become, I guess you could say, desensitized to, because it's become normal for us. And it's become something that we just feel like it's supposed to be a part of our life. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be. That doesn't have to be your normal, but it's going to take, I'm not here to tell you it's going to be quick and easy. I'm not here to say that, because that's not what it is. That's not what it is. And that's not the type of person that I am. And that's not the type of stuff that I sell. And that's not what you're going to find on this free webinar. I'm just being real with you. The goal of this webinar is to help you. For one thing, I always want to help people find clarity. A lot of times we have different financial habits, or maybe, like I said, maybe you've tried to budget before and failed at budgeting, or maybe you just don't even know where the hell to start. Like, you have an idea of what your goals are, but you're not really quite sure at the same time. That's what I want to help people do, because when you get that clarity, the path becomes clearer. What you need to do next and your next steps become so much clearer after that. That's what I want to help people find. I want to help people actually create a plan to help them And it's going to take time, real talk, but I want to help people create that plan and get things together. If you look at any of my videos, I come like real, down to earth, real tips, because that's what we need. All that, we got a lot of personal finance creators out here, and I tell you this about myself too. Check my facts, like check my Carfax, Google me, Nia Adams, you know what I mean? Look up people instead of just listening to what they say online. But I think that a lot of times the reason why we do that, because again, we didn't get really a lot of knowledge about personal finance. We really didn't get taught a lot of things about personal finance. We really didn't have many money conversations growing up. And that's like, I have a course. My course is called Mindset to Millions. That's one of the things. I have this questionnaire that I have people fill out as a part of the first module. And that's what I have them talk about. When did you first talk about money? Because a lot of people have no clue. A lot of people don't even know, like, well, when they first started even seeing money. Because I speak at high schools and, for youth and adults. I'm a speaker. I tell kids all the time, you probably already got your money habits and you don't even know you've created them. You either seen some uncle or auntie in your life that you model, you idolize, or, put them at a higher pedestal, or you've just created this idea like, oh my God, they got it like that. Like, I want to be like them when I grow up. You know what I mean? And it's nothing wrong with that, but believe it or not, sometimes that's what creates your money habits, because you feel like they got it and they spending money like crazy. You don't really have any insight into their finances. All you see is what they have on the outside. You don't know that they owe a lot of people and they robbing Peter to pay Paul to look like that. These are the part that we don't know and we never learn. You just saw that outside appearance. And believe it or not, something as small as that can shape how you spend. Not having it when you're younger can shape how you spend money. You see what I'm saying? So that's what my goal and my mission is to help people find those type of things out so they can get some real money success, and just live a better life. Because who trying to keep walking around here stressed out? The next thing is I want to help release the shame associated with money mistakes. Because baby, who don't make them? Tell me one person who is wealthy, doing well. Hell, I even take financially comfortable, is a millionaire, multimillionaire, and I bet you on this. Tell me one of them that never made a money mistake. Hell, in life, period, tell me somebody who didn't make a mistake. So there's absolutely no reason for you to be ashamed or feel down or feel deflated because you made a mistake, because you feel like you failed, because ain't no such thing as being bad with money. You didn't know. And sometimes it's just deeper issues or deeper reasons why you made the money mistakes that you made. And the quicker you can realize that, and the quicker you can figure out what that is, baby, the quicker you can get to where you're trying to get to, the quicker you can get to the goal. So I personally have dedicated myself, assigned myself the job of helping educate us and helping us get to the money, but more so get to the money. First of all, finding money in your current budget that you got right now without you having to try to go get a side hustle. And I realize some people, like, they finances are really tight. A lot of my students, though, the women who I help change their life, they have money. They have a decent income. They've worked. Their credit is decent. The problem they have is they have a lot of amounts of debt. The problem is they had decent credit, so they were able to get more cards with higher balances, but they did not have the discipline or the knowledge on how to use those credit cards wisely, and thus now they have run them up. So now they're sitting in a situation where they make good income. Every time they see these little charts and these little things online, it say that their income is a good income compared to most people, but they can't see why, and they can't understand why. And that's what I do, and that's what I come and help them figure out. Because I don't know. It's one thing to see somebody's transformation and see somebody like A lot of my students, they go on and then they start teaching their families and they start helping others around them. And it's just like spreading the knowledge and spreading it, because this is something very vital that we need. And it's not something that's going to go away. It's something that's only going to get worse and worse with time, because things are going to consistently get more and more expensive. But it's a passion of mine, because it's something that I went through and I dealt with myself. Like, I could tell y'all my story. Y'all want me to do a story time? I have to come on here live and do a story time and tell my story. But my story got some ups, some downs, some lefts, some rights, some roller coasters, some pitfalls, a couple of rock bottoms. And then finally, I stopped just, oh, well, let me follow these steps. And I start to really think about, why do I do what I do with money? Because we always like, oh, well, I could just take a personal loan out and pay off my debt. Or I'll just borrow it from my 401k and pay off my debt. But did you correct the habits that created it? Did you work on the things or the money habits that you were using or applying or had that created these financial woes in the first place? If you didn't, when you take that lump sum of money, guess what it's going to do? It's going to put you in a back bind. It's going to put you in a bind again, because you're going to use that lump sum of money. You're going to pay off them credit cards, and then you're going to go run them fools right back up, because you still have the same habits. You didn't make any changes. You see what I'm saying? You didn't make no changes. You just said, okay, let me pop this Band-Aid on it. And now you got to pay off the loan, and you got to pay off the original debt you owe. Okay. So I'm trying to help as much as possible. And I feel like a lot of times we reject that type of help because it's quick. It's not quick and easy. It's not overnight. It's not something that's going to be like, oh, okay, just don't go buy Starbucks. And now all of a sudden your finances are fixed. Baby, that's furthest from the lie as possible. I mean, furthest from the truth as possible. That's not going to fix your finances. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. There are, in my opinion, 5 foundations to your finances. And it's going to be your budget, of course, because my BFF budget, he don't never steer me wrong. It's going to be your debt repayment. So like releasing your debt and getting rid of it, because every time you pay off more debt, you give yourself an automatic pay raise. When you pay off debt, you release more money of your own to go back into your pocket for you to put towards the things that you want to do. Not the bills that got their hand out when you get paid, not the other things that you want to purchase, but getting closer to what you want to do. Maybe you want to make more trips, take more trips. I'm here for that because I'm an avid traveler. That's what I do with my money. I'm not a partier. I'm not a big shopper, but trips. Well, you know what? I lied. I'll shop for some flights because I'll stock a flight like nobody business. But that's why in my course, same thing. The last module is Travel and Thrive. And I actually just released a YouTube video today that's called Travel and Thrive. And I kind of share my screen and show some of the ways that I book budget travel, and not budget like hostels, because I don't stay in hostels personally, but how I save money even though I'm traveling the world and doing things. And I dropped that video today. But like I said, drop your questions. I got about 10 more minutes on here before I'm going to hop out. Definitely while you're here, hit the like button, subscribe, follow whatever platform that you all are on. Make sure you like and following and subscribing. The reason why that's very important and why you hear us always saying that on the videos is because when you like something or you follow us, you let the platform know that you want to hear what we're talking about. So it's going to show it to more people so that more people will see it and more people will be able to get that same knowledge and information. So we don't be just yelling it to bother y'all. We yelling it because that's the way that social media works, essentially. Like, they need to know that you like what we're talking about, that we're not on here, being boring. We out here providing good and valuable information. And again, like I said, if y'all have questions, definitely drop your questions in the chat about money, budgeting, saving, debt repayment. I can even do investing, credit, topics like that. I've been doing this about almost 7 years. So I've been doing this for a while. Just trying to go live more to really connect more with my audience. Also, it helps me because the more questions you all drop, that lets me know what type of content y'all want me to bring. That lets me know what type of videos to make. It lets me know what type of questions y'all need answers to, so I can make sure that my content is giving what it needs to give. Okay. But at the end of the day, like I said, one of the best ways, as far as I'm gonna share a few tips on how you break down and pay off your debt. So one of the first things you want to do is you got to identify who and what you owe. Like I said earlier, who you owe, what you owe them, how much are they charging you to owe them? Okay, because this is a big one. I typically tell a lot of my students, and this is what we do. Go look at your credit card statements, all the credit card statements you have, and look at how much interest you paid. So typically in any given month, after your statement closes, your credit card statement will take a account of however much money you spent. And then they're going to charge you interest based on how much money you spent or whatever your balance is that month. Look at that amount that they're charging you every month. To me, that's a slap in my face, because that's money that can be going towards my goals. That's money that can be going towards my trips. You know what I'm saying? So my goal is to get that money out, to get them out my wallet and get them out my pocket. So with that being said, once you figure that out and you understand exactly what you owe or how much you owe, then your next step is figuring out how you're going to pay it off. Now, there are a few methods that you can pay it off. I really don't have time to get into all the details of the different ones. But if you have like the debt snowball method, you have the debt avalanche method. But they're basically different ways that you pay off your debt based on different factors. At the end of the day, you always can choose your own method too. That can be a combination of the two. You can flip them however you want to. Personal finance is personal. So whatever way works for you, that's going to keep you motivated, that's going to help you stay focused and keep working on paying off that debt, that's the way you choose. It's no wrong or no right, as long as you are making progress. The goal is to make progress. Practice make progress, because who perfect? Nobody. Okay. So like I said, like, follow, subscribe, whatever channel you are watching this on. Drop any questions that you have. And be okay with the fact that you made some money mistakes, and also understand that you might still make some more. Even me, and I've been in this game, like I said, for a while, and since I got my life right with money years ago, I still make mistakes, because at the end of the day, only a fool knows everything. So you still have to learn. That's why I go to conferences. I spend thousands of dollars every year, y'all, going to conferences so I can go to trainings and workshops and learn. Like, I don't, I have to still learn too. I can't be asking y'all to sign up for my workshops and my classes, and I'm not going to get the knowledge too. So typically a lot of my stuff gets updated and it gets changed, because I learn more information. So when I learn more, I got to bring it to you. So at the same time, I still make mistakes, even with that. And a lot of times, as you learn more, you do better. So maybe you weren't even making mistakes before, but you just didn't have all the knowledge, and it's more knowledge that you need. Okay. So maybe you didn't know you could tie your shoe this way. You've been tying it like this all your life, but now you've learned there's another way that you could tie your shoe and get to the same result. And you kind of like that way better. That's what it looks like. That's what improving your finances looks like, and fixing your finances. And the reality is, it's going to be up to you, baby. Ain't nobody else can do it but you. It's your finances. Only you know what your true goals are. And maybe that's what the problem is. You don't have concrete goals. That's where you start, because having goals is what's going to keep you dedicated to this process. Having a goal, having a set destination. Like, I wish I could show you all. I'm sitting in my office. In front of me on the left-hand side is my vision board on the wall. On the right-hand side is a dry erase schedule. And then I have like the little markers, and I make my schedule for each month, because that's the way for me to know what I got to do. Trying to wing it and becoming a professional bill juggler, because that's what we do. We don't have a set budget, and we don't have set amounts in our head. We just pay the bills when we get paid. And that's what we've become accustomed to doing. And that's what we're used to doing. Just pay the bills when they come. It is what it is. And that's not sustainable. Okay. Because when you have something come in that's not planned, or you forget about a bill because you forget that it's even coming, especially that happens a lot with the buy now, pay later. I see it. I'm not picking on the buy now, pay later, but I just see in my students' finances, a lot of times they forget to add them. And then we're going through the process and we're doing the budget, and it's like, oh, here comes this random charge. And they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I had that. You know what I mean? So they're very easy to forget. So it's very easy to sign up for a lot of them. Okay. So again, I am about to go. Did you all have any questions? I'll be back on here maybe tomorrow. I don't know for sure, but I'll definitely be back on here before the week is over. But definitely ask me your questions. Ask me your questions. Y'all can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, follow me here. I'm on pretty much most of the platforms. And I'm on here pretty regularly. I pretty much drop videos and content all the time. If y'all got content y'all want me to bring, drop that in the content, drop that in the chat. And I make videos on that too, because I'm definitely trying to make sure I'm giving y'all what y'all need and helping y'all through this journey. So definitely let me know about that. I got 3 more minutes. So I'm gonna give y'all a chance to ask questions, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Other than that, what y'all up to? What y'all up to today? Me, I had a busy day at work. Got off early. Well, no, I didn't. I got off on time. I actually worked. No, I worked about 8.5 hours. Typically, I would work 8 or less. I'm doing this. I have a financial coaching client at 6, and then after my financial coaching client at 6, I'll probably get off with her. We'll see. Depends on how the meeting goes. But I'm gonna try to make a Zumba class in my area that's at 7:30. So depends on what time I get off with her. Sometimes coaching clients turns into kind of therapy. So we're gonna see how it goes, and that's really it. Once I come in from Zumba, baby, I'm gonna take me a shower and I'm gonna relax because I have worked out. I'm on a fitness journey, but same principle. You got to be consistent. I have worked out, I think every day. I don't even know. I have to look and see all the days that I have worked out. I need to figure out all the days. Free shipping is best for me. She said free shipping is best for me. You and a lot of others. Is it naturally easy? Okay. Yeah, you and a lot of other people love free shipping. Free shipping be getting all our coins, get us to spend a lot of our money. Okay. But yeah, that was my day. Tomorrow I'm off for the holiday. And I will be trying to relax and chill as much as possible. All right, y'all. It is 6 o'clock. It is time for me to get off this thing. And that's it. That's all. And do 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 do.